Welcome back to my channel, everybody. So in November, I started repainting my cabinets and I purchased a gallon of the, what's it called? Magnolia Home by Joanna Gaines, and it's a Kilz product. It's their cabinet paint. I picked the color Magnolia Green. It was one of the brightest, one of the funkiest colors they had. I recently had painted my walls from the builder's grade kind of gray institutionalized color, which I'm not fond of, and I painted the walls into a more creamy white color. And the next step was taking the upper cabinets down, turning that into open shelving that my husband and I did, along with a nice big backsplash that goes all the way up to the ceiling. So I do have some videos of several of those processes. Go to either my DIY playlist or just go check out my videos in general, and you'll find several things there for DIY and furniture, you know, painting, things like that. Anyway, I wanted to try the Magnolia Home Paint. I really liked the colors. I thought that it would basically be maybe like an upgraded paint as to what you can typically get in the like Lowe's or Home Depot. I bought it at Lowe's. I think it was about 60 bucks a gallon. And I had originally, a few houses ago, I had repainted some old wooden cabinets that were in the kitchen. I didn't have enough money to replace them at the time. So I repainted, and I used a, I know it was a Valspar product. It was a Lowe's, and it was a cabinet paint. And I want to say it was an enamel paint made for cabinets. And it was a little bit of a process, but the results came out really, really good. It did a nice job self-leveling. I had maybe one chip in it after a couple years worth of use, and it was one of my cast iron Dutch oven lids had fallen and hit the door before it hit the ground, and I just lightly sanded it and repaired that little spot, and never really worried about it again. It cleaned up nice. I thought that this would be like an upgrade. The color choice that they offer is spectacular. I pretty much loved every color they had, but I was really drawn to the greens. I love a lot of blues and greens in my house. I purchased a gallon of the Magnolia Green, and so this is an application of product from Kilz that they worked in conjunction with the Magnolia brand, and it's an acrylic. So I was excited. So I did half of my kitchen, and then I was gonna wait the 30 days to let it fully cure, which is what it said to do, and see what the results were afterwards. My basic process, I'll just quickly go over here. But if you look up my first video, and I will link that, I think, in the description. If you look up that first video, it will go into the different steps a little bit more specifically. But essentially what I did was I cleaned and degreased the cabinets very well and the boxes. I sanded everything down with 220 grit sandpaper. I cleaned the cabinets a second time, and then I started priming. I used the recommended primer, which is a Kilz brand, obviously. So I put on a layer of Kilz. I went significantly slower in my drying times in between coats than I did the last time. The last time I was trying to get this stuff done before my husband came home, because he had no idea that I was even doing this. It was a project he said he didn't want me to really do. So I waited for him to leave, and I did it when he wasn't paying attention. So I had to get everything done in about 3 days time. This time I knew that I wanted to take my time in between the different layers. I felt like maybe I worked a little bit too quickly before, and when I started hanging up the doors and stuff, I was having like peeling issues. I was having a lot of paint problems on the cabinets. So this time I did a layer of primer. I let it sit overnight. I got up the next morning, I lightly sanded it, a second layer of primer, let it sit for another day, lightly sanded it, 2 coats of the paint, waiting a night in between each, lightly sanding in between each coat. I used a foam roller, probably one of my first regrets. I don't think I would use a foam roller on this. Again, the texture of the paint did not seem to work well with the foam roller, even though these rollers were made for like cabinetry and furniture painting. I have used the foam roller before. Again, I used it on the previous kitchen that I had done with a different paint product, and I did not have the kind of bubbles and texture that was forming. It seemed to, once I gave it a light sand, I was able to get a lot of that stuff out. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to be a problem, and it doesn't look like a problem, but that would probably be my first regret, is using that roller. It said you shouldn't need like a clear coat or a top coat over it. It should be a rock hard finish, and I thought, well, this is perfect for a kitchen. Kitchens get used and abused. There's a lot of activity there. If you have kids, if you have animals, those doors can get kind of beat. So I wanted something that was really rock hard. I was really desperate because I did not want to finish or redo the whole island side, which was all the way around in that color paint, if it wasn't going to stick right, if it wasn't going to hold right. So I was kind of in panic mode, and I remembered that I had the chalk paint brand that I use the most is called Dixie Belle, and they have this clear coat called Gator Hyde, and I'll have some pictures and some links in there regarding this. And it's supposed to be like a water repellent top coat, non-yellowing, da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, I have used it on a couple pieces of furniture, one being my coffee bar, so it's constantly getting little splatters, little drips of coffee and stuff like that, and everything cleans up 100%. Like, it's gorgeous. It's got a gorgeous, nice, hard finish to it. No complaints whatsoever. So I did a lot of research. I looked online. Dixie Belle said they can only guarantee it for their product, of course. I didn't see anybody really using it for a non-Dixie Belle product. But like I said, at this point, I was desperate. So I said, I'm going to just try it. And that way, if it sucks, I'll just redo everything with a different brand. I'll sand all that stuff and get rid of the paint and, kind of start over. So the application for the Gator Hyde is really simple. You put some in a little paper plate or a little plastic bowl or something like that. You use a sponge. Now, Dixie Belle has their own sponge, but somebody else said they didn't particularly like that sponge. They recommended the sponge that I have. I can't even tell you where I got it. I have no idea where I got it, but that's what I used. You wet the sponge, wring it out really, really well. I even kind of like wring it out in some paper towels or like a tea towel a little bit, just so it's like damp, but not soaking wet. And you just lightly dab some of that product onto the sponge, kind of take the excess off, and you swipe it onto the product. And the less swipes, the better. Just, I kind of went across in different rows and made sure I covered as much as I possibly could. Went around the doors, the frames of the doors, the places that I knew were going to get the most like use and abuse. It's easy to put on. It's done drying in no time. I still waited a day in between coats to put on different coats. I think I put 2 coats on total. If you miss a spot, it's okay. You're gonna see where you missed. So it's not that big of a deal. I was able to go over those, missed spots, and it was seamless. It has a really nice finish, but it is a gloss finish. It didn't bother me because my cabinet doors are a gloss finish. So I wasn't really taking anything away with that. I didn't mind. I didn't really see much of a difference in the texture or the finish. And pretty much as soon as it was done, I thought, I think I found something here. I think this is gonna work really well. In front of my kitchen sink, I have one of those little doors or drawers that kind of like pulls open that you can put like your sponges and things like that in there. And there's a little tray in there that gets removed. I had taken that out to paint the inside, followed the same technique that I had done on everything else. I was scared to put that little tray back in because I was afraid, like everything else, the paint would stick to it, and if you tried to take it off at some point, you'd peel the whole thing off, kind of thing. So I was pretty scared to do anything about it. But I did 2 coats of that clear coat, And the next night I put that back in and thought, well, I mean, now's the time to check. So I left the tray in all night, took it out the next morning, nothing, not a scratch, not a nick, no nothing. And it's pressing hard up against that paint. So I knew I had something. I knew I could save this project with this particular product, and you don't need a lot to get it accomplished. So that literally was the lifesaver for me when it came to this product. I love it with the open shelving up above. I just feel like my house is a newer home. It was built in like 2018, 2019. It looks like every other home in my neighborhood. It had a lot of builder's grade things, and they look so similar on the outside. I just wanted something surprising when you come into my home on the inside. The one thing that I really, really love about my house is that kitchen, living room, dining room is just one big giant room. And I love that for like entertainment purposes. For having company over, you can cook and sit and hang out and socialize and eat and have fun with your family and friends. And I just love how that looks. I just love how it feels and how it looks. I love how the green cabinets play off of the warm tones, like in the wood of the open shelving and things like that. I love having all of kind of like some of my favorite pieces on display for everybody to see, things that I've collected or things that maybe my mom or my mother-in-law have given me. It just makes me feel good, and it's different and unique, and I really love it. In conclusion, would I use this product again? No, I would not use this product again. I think I would try something else. I definitely wouldn't do it without the Gator Hyde sealant. Honestly, if it wasn't for that sealant, I think I would have had to redo my entire kitchen again. So I am super grateful. Now, I have talked to a couple of other people who have used it that did not have my issues. So I don't understand why. I mean, I really followed their directions. Like I said, getting down to using their primer. I sanded, I liquid sandpapered. I feel like I really went above and beyond, and the difference between rushing it the first time and versus taking my time the second time is virtually zero difference in how the texture and everything came out. Zero. When I hung the doors back up, I still dinged a few of them and had to go in, and it was like peeling. That shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen, especially when you're waiting about 24 hours in between each coat. You're giving it a nice light sand in between each coat. Yeah, I just wasn't happy for it. I love my kitchen. I love the finished product, but I'm not happy how I got there. The process really disappoints me. I know this is probably not for everybody. I have heard positive things about this product. It just did not work right for me. Again, this is just my opinion. Who am I? I'm an amateur. I don't really know what I'm doing with a lot of this stuff, but the big winner in this was the Dixie Belle Gator Hyde, and for that I will be forever grateful, because I think that is going to really help beef up the longevity of these cabinets. If you have had a different experience with that product, let me know. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear some good stories about it, but I just know from my experience, I have some definite opinions, and they are just not good. So that's gonna wrap it for this episode. I'm pretty much done home renovations, at least for now. We're hoping to be doing some traveling real soon. Both in and out of the state, Florida. So stick around for that, because we really want to like get up and get going, get out of the state for the whole summer, we're hoping, but we'll see. We've got some work to do around here. I want to thank you for sticking around. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any other questions or recommendations for me, go ahead and leave me a message. I usually respond relatively quickly. And if you are not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe, like the video. All those new subscribers and likes really help with my content, with what I'm trying to do for the future. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye. That was stupid. Oh, I'm freaking stupid.